Let me ask you something. Why do some people lose hair at 30, while others keep it at 70, even 80? Is it genetics? Is it aging? Or is it something your doctor never explained? Here's the warning. Hair loss is not just about hair. It's about your blood, your arteries, your circulation, your cells, and if those systems are damaged, your hair is the first to suffer, because hair is not essential for survival. Your brain is, your heart is. So when oxygen and nutrients drop, your body makes a decision. It says, save the heart, save the brain, let the hair go. That is not cosmetic. That is a biological warning sign. And today, I want to show you a natural, science-supported, everyday habit that may help activate, protect, and support healthier hair, especially for seniors. Barbara O'Neill talks about it. Traditional medicine has used it for centuries. But the secret is not one oil, it's the combination. Stay with me, because one common mistake can make this completely useless. Explanation: simple medical science lets understand hair. Simply, your hair follicle is alive. It needs blood, it needs oxygen, it needs energy. No blood, no growth. Now here's what happens as we age. Problem #1. Poor circulation over time, your arteries stiffen. Inflammation builds, blood flow slows. Your scalp has some of the smallest blood vessels in the body. That means it's the first place to lose circulation. Less blood equals less oxygen, less minerals, less repair. Hair follicles go into sleep mode. Not dead, just inactive. Problem #2. Inflammation and sugar. High sugar spikes insulin. High insulin increases inflammation. Inflammation damages blood vessels, nerve cells, and when follicles are inflamed, they shrink. Smaller follicle equals thinner hair. Eventually, no hair. Problem #3. Oil glands stop working as we age. The scalp produces less natural oil. Dry scalp equals poor protection, poor repair, poor regeneration. Hair breaks faster than it grows. Now here's where castor oil comes in. Why castor oil matters. Castor oil is rich in ricinoleic acid. This compound is known to support circulation, calm inflammation, protect skin cells. Thick, heavy, powerful. But here's the danger. Castor oil alone is too thick. It can clog pores, sit on the scalp, block oxygen. That's the mistake most people make. So what's the secret? You add 1 drop of a second oil. The secret, the oil Barbara O'Neill often refers to. Rosemary oil. Why rosemary? Because science shows rosemary can stimulate blood flow, activate nerves, support follicle signaling. Think of it like this. Castor oil equals nutrition and protection. Rosemary oil equals activation. Signal together. They may help wake up dormant follicles, improve oxygen delivery, support cellular repair. Not a miracle overnight, but a habit that supports regeneration. And remember, hair regrowth is a systemic process. Scalp health reflects internal health. Tips clear and practical. Here's how to do it safely and smartly. BMIX: 1 tablespoon castor oil, 1 drop rosemary essential oil, only 1. Mix well. How to apply: apply to scalp, not hair length. Massage gently for 3-5 minutes. This activates blood flow. How often? 2-3 times per week, not every day. Too much equals irritation. Wash out. Leave for 30-60 minutes. Wash gently with mild shampoo. Support from inside. Hair needs more than oil. You must reduce sugar, lower inflammation, eat real food, protect blood vessels, because oils help the scalp. But food heals the cells. Let me leave you with this. Hair loss is not vanity. It's a signal, a message from your body saying something needs attention. And the good news, your body is designed to repair, regenerate, protect when you support it. No dangerous drugs, no false miracles, just science, nature, and everyday habits. If this helped you save this video, share it with someone you love, and remember, when you improve circulation, reduce inflammation, and nourish your cells, you don't just support hair, you support life, vitality, and healthier aging. I'm Dr. William Lai, and your body wants to heal. Hair loss is rarely random, and it is almost never just a cosmetic issue. When hair starts thinning or falling out, the body is sending a message. Hair follicles are living structures that depend on steady blood flow, oxygen, and nutrients to stay active. When something disrupts that supply, hair growth is one of the first processes to slow down. This is not because hair is unimportant, but because the body is intelligent. It prioritizes survival. The heart, the brain, and vital organs always come first. Hair, while visible, is not essential for keeping you alive, so it becomes an early indicator when internal balance starts to shift. As circulation weakens, especially with age, the scalp often feels the effects before other areas do. The blood vessels that feed hair follicles are small and sensitive. Even mild inflammation or reduced blood flow can limit oxygen delivery to these follicles. When oxygen drops, energy production inside the cells drops with it. Hair growth requires energy. Without it, follicles move into a resting phase. They are not dead, but they stop producing strong, healthy hair. Over time, this resting phase becomes longer, and new growth becomes thinner, slower, or stops altogether. Inflammation plays a quiet but powerful role in this process. Chronic low-level inflammation, often driven by high sugar intake, insulin spikes, or long-term stress, damages blood vessels and interferes with cellular repair. Inflammatory signals around the scalp can cause follicles to shrink. A smaller follicle produces a finer hair, and repeated cycles of inflammation can eventually silence that follicle completely. This is why hair loss often progresses gradually rather than all at once. It reflects ongoing internal stress rather than a sudden external cause. What makes hair loss such an important warning sign is that it often appears before more serious symptoms show up. The same poor circulation and inflammation affecting the scalp may also be affecting the heart, the brain, and the nerves, just more slowly. Hair gives you a visible clue that something deeper needs attention. Ignoring it and focusing only on topical solutions misses the larger picture. When the body struggles to deliver blood and nutrients efficiently, no cream or shampoo can fully override that signal. The real opportunity lies in recognizing hair loss as feedback from the body and understanding what it is asking for at a deeper level. Circulation is the quiet system that keeps every part of the body working, and hair is deeply dependent on it. Every hair follicle relies on a constant stream of blood to deliver oxygen, minerals, and fuel. When circulation is strong, cells receive what they need to grow, repair, and function normally. When it weakens, even slightly, the impact shows up in places with the smallest blood vessels first. The scalp is one of those places. Reduced blood flow there means follicles struggle to maintain energy, and growth slows long before you notice changes elsewhere in the body. Oxygen is central to this process. Hair cells are some of the fastest dividing cells in the body, and that rapid activity demands a steady oxygen supply. When circulation drops, oxygen delivery drops with it. Without enough oxygen, cells shift into a low energy state. They focus on survival instead of growth. Hair follicles respond by shortening the growth phase and spending more time at rest. Over time, this leads to thinner strands and longer gaps between growth cycles. The change is gradual, which is why it often goes unnoticed until volume is clearly reduced. Blood flow also carries signals, not just nutrients. Hormones, growth factors, and repair messages all travel through the bloodstream. Healthy circulation allows these signals to reach the scalp efficiently. When blood flow is sluggish, those signals are delayed or weakened. The follicle does not get clear instructions to repair damage or start a new growth cycle. This is one reason why improving circulation can have noticeable effects on hair quality. It restores communication between the body and the follicle, not just raw fuel. As people age, circulation naturally becomes less efficient. Blood vessels lose flexibility, inflammation increases, and physical activity often decreases. All of this reduces how well blood moves through smaller vessels. The scalp feels this change early. Many people notice their hair becoming drier, finer, or slower to grow long before they experience other circulation-related symptoms. This is not coincidence. It is the body revealing where support is needed. Hair becomes a reflection of vascular health, not just genetics or grooming habits. Supporting circulation is not about forcing growth. It is about removing barriers so the body can do what it already knows how to do. When blood moves freely, oxygen levels improve, energy production rises, and repair processes become more efficient. Hair follicles respond when the environment becomes supportive again. They are sensitive, but they are also resilient. Given the right conditions, they can shift out of dormancy and return to active growth, reflecting broader improvements happening throughout the body. Castor oil has been used for generations, and its value comes from how deeply it supports the scalp rather than how quickly it produces visible results. It is rich in fatty acids that help soften the skin, reduce dryness, and create a protective layer over the scalp. This matters because a dry or irritated scalp struggles to support healthy follicles. When the scalp environment is calm and nourished, cells are better able to repair themselves. Castor oil helps with that foundation. It supports comfort and protection, which are necessary before any growth can occur. What castor oil does not do well on its own is stimulate. Its texture is thick, and while that can be beneficial for sealing in moisture, it can also sit heavily on the skin. Without enough stimulation underneath, follicles may remain inactive. Blood flow does not automatically increase just because an oil is applied. The scalp still needs a signal that tells it to wake up and send more resources to the area. This is where many people get frustrated. They use castor oil consistently, see little change, and assume it does not work, when the real issue is that something is missing. Adding a small amount of rosemary oil changes how the system behaves. Rosemary oil is known for its ability to encourage blood flow at the surface of the skin. It creates a mild warming sensation that helps draw circulation toward the scalp. This increased flow brings oxygen and nutrients closer to the follicles. When used in very small amounts, it does not overwhelm the skin. Instead, it acts as a signal. The follicle receives a message that conditions have changed and that resources are available again. The balance between protection and activation is important. Too much stimulation without nourishment can irritate the scalp. Too much nourishment without stimulation can leave follicles inactive. Combining castor oil with a single drop of rosemary oil brings those two needs together. One supports the structure and comfort of the scalp. The other supports circulation and cellular communication. This combination does not force growth. It creates an environment where growth becomes more likely if the body is ready for it. Consistency matters more than intensity with this approach. The scalp responds to repeated gentle signals over time. Massaging the mixture into the skin helps spread the oils evenly and encourages blood flow through physical movement as well. This reinforces the effect without stressing the tissue. Over time, the scalp becomes better hydrated, circulation improves, and follicles have a clearer path to receive nutrients. The process is gradual, but it aligns with how the body naturally repairs and supports living tissue. Sugar has a much bigger impact on hair health than most people realize. When you eat foods that spike blood sugar, the body responds by releasing insulin. Insulin is essential for managing glucose, but frequent spikes create a constant state of stress inside the body. Over time, this stress promotes inflammation. Inflammation is not always loud or painful. It often works quietly in the background, damaging small blood vessels and interfering with normal cell function. Hair follicles are especially sensitive to this kind of internal disruption. Inflammation affects how well blood flows through tiny vessels in the scalp. When those vessels are irritated or narrowed, oxygen delivery drops. Hair follicles depend on oxygen to produce energy, and without enough energy, they cannot maintain a healthy growth cycle. Instead of growing strong strands, follicles begin to shrink. Each growth cycle produces thinner hair than the last. Eventually, the follicle may stop producing visible hair altogether. This process happens slowly, which is why people often do not connect their diet with changes in their hair until significant thinning has already occurred. High sugar intake also interferes with hormonal balance. Elevated insulin levels can increase the activity of hormones that negatively affect hair follicles. This creates an environment where hair is more likely to shed and less likely to regrow. At the same time, inflammation disrupts the body's natural repair systems. Cells that should be fixing damage are instead busy responding to constant metabolic stress. The scalp becomes less capable of maintaining healthy tissue, and follicles struggle to recover from everyday wear and tear. What makes sugar-related inflammation particularly damaging is how common it is. Many people experience it daily without obvious symptoms. They may feel fine overall, yet inside the body, blood vessels and cells are under continuous pressure. Hair loss becomes one of the earliest visible signs of this imbalance. It reflects what is happening at a cellular level throughout the body. The same inflammatory processes that weaken hair follicles can also affect circulation, nerve function, and long-term metabolic health. Reducing sugar intake gives the body a chance to calm this internal stress. When insulin levels stabilize, inflammation begins to ease. Blood vessels can relax and improve circulation. Oxygen and nutrients move more freely to the scalp. Hair follicles respond when the environment becomes less hostile. They are no longer fighting constant inflammation and can redirect energy toward growth and repair. Supporting hair health through diet is not about restriction for its own sake. It is about creating internal conditions that allow cells to function as they were designed to. The body has an extraordinary ability to repair itself when the conditions are right. This is easy to forget when symptoms show up, especially something visible like hair loss. Many people assume that once hair starts thinning, the damage is permanent. In reality, hair follicles often remain alive but inactive. They are waiting for signals that tell them it is safe to grow again. These signals come from overall health, not from a single product or treatment. When the body senses stability, it begins to shift resources toward repair. Cells respond to patterns, not one-time efforts. A single healthy meal or a few days of better sleep do not create lasting change. What matters is repetition. When the body consistently receives balanced nutrition, steady blood sugar, and adequate rest, it adjusts its priorities. Inflammation lowers, circulation improves, repair systems become more efficient. Hair follicles are part of this system. They respond when the internal environment supports long-term growth rather than short-term survival. Habits send powerful messages to the body. Regular movement encourages blood flow and helps oxygen reach small vessels, including those in the scalp. Adequate hydration supports circulation and nutrient transport. Reducing processed foods lowers metabolic stress and frees up energy for repair. None of these habits work in isolation. Together, they create a steady signal that conditions are improving. The body listens to this signal and responds gradually, often in subtle ways at first. Hair regrowth, when it happens, reflects deeper changes taking place inside. It suggests that blood vessels are functioning better, that inflammation is more controlled, and that cells have the energy they need to rebuild tissue. This is why patience matters. The body repairs from the inside out. Hair is one of the last places to show improvement because it is not essential for survival. When it does respond, it often means the foundation of health has already strengthened. Seeing the body as capable rather than broken changes how people approach health. Instead of chasing quick fixes, the focus shifts to support and consistency. When the right signals are repeated day after day, the body adapts. Repair becomes the default direction rather than an occasional response. Hair follicles, like all living cells, respond to the environment they are in. When that environment becomes stable, nourished, and calm, growth becomes a natural outcome rather than something that has to be forced.